Thanks very much again, everybody, for inviting us. And as said, I'm the Senior Community Liaison. We've got Bob with us today, Director of Major Projects for many projects. We've got a lot of projects tied up in this Coquitlam water main project. And I think maybe on this, I don't know if you already have, but if you go to full screen, you'll be able to see the slides better. We don't have tons of small detailed pictures or whatever. It's just going to make it easier to be able to have a look at what we've got to show you. And we'll just go through these slides. I can't remember how many we've got. We've 16 or 17 of them or something like that. We can take questions at the end is probably easier because you might find the subsequent slide answers questions that you might have here. I need to minimize this so I can see what I am presenting. Okay, so I'll go to our slides and make sure this is still in my way, sorry. Sorry, I'm having trouble advancing my slides. There we go. So we're going to be giving you an overview of our project. This is a photograph showing the work that's underway already on Pipeline Road. Our focus is going to be work that's already underway, but we're going to be introducing a number of things. We have been reaching out regarding the Coquitlam water main in the community for a few years. Some of you we've had some interaction with already. I've spoken with Jim a number of times, and we've reached out into the business community. We had a meeting with you guys 4 years ago in September of 2020 as well, talking about some of the aspects of the work that we're doing in Coquitlam and on Pipeline Road. Our 2020 presentation to the roundtable shared information about the Coquitlam water main project, the Pipeline Road repair project, the Coquitlam Lake water supply project as well. And today we're going to be sharing an update on the revised schedule for the Coquitlam water main project, some details of the construction that is underway on Pipeline Road. We'll give a brief overview of the Pipeline Road North section. Bob Cheng is going to give you a technical overview of the project, and I'll turn it over to Bob now. And Bob, just tell me to advance the slides as you need them as we go through here.
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Yeah. So just a bit of background on the projects. So to meet the growing demand for drinking water in the region, Metro Vancouver is constructing a new water main in the city of Coquitlam. The new water main is approximately 12 kilometers long, and it ranges in diameter from 2.2 meters to 3.2 meters from the south end to the north end. It'll be constructed between the north end of Pipeline Road, about 1 kilometer south of the Coquitlam watershed, and also Metro Vancouver's Cape Horn Pump Station reservoir at the intersection of Mariner Way and Riverview Crescent. So construction of the water main will be divided in 4 sections, as you can see on this slide. Starting at the top, Pipeline Road North section, Robson to Guildford section is the orange piece in the middle, and then we have the city center that's tunneled, and also at the very south end, we have the Cape Horn section. We're dividing it into 4 sections so that we have more manageable construction contracts. The main is built to a very high seismic standard, which is of welded steel. This makes each piece of pipe very heavy, and the welding process takes a long time to complete properly. But it makes the completed pipe extremely strong and durable. We expect it to last a century or longer. Next slide, please. So in terms of the overall project schedule, Metro Vancouver started design on each section several years ago. Construction of the Robson to Guildford section is currently underway, and that's just adjacent to Town Centre Park. And the other 3 sections are still at various stages of detailed design. So while construction of the Robson to Guildford section should be completed by 2026, we anticipate construction for the final section of the overall water main to continue into the early 2030s. Various contractors will be involved in building the new sections after they are completed, and the Metro Vancouver crews will then connect the new water main into our existing transmission system. Next slide. Thank you. So just in terms of the actual construction schedule, so just note that what you see here on this slide, these dates are, again, just for construction, and they're always subject to change as we take the time to consider design and technical considerations, potential community impacts, and input received during engagement. We have been working with the cities of Coquitlam and Port Coquitlam for a number of years as we designed the project. We meet every couple of weeks with Coquitlam staff. Now that we have a section under construction, we'll continue to keep your group updated as the project progresses. The next few slides will focus on the two northern sections. So that's the Pipeline Road North and Robson to Guildford section of the overall water main. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, I was just going to say we need to go back one slide. Okay, thank you. I'm just going to provide an update on the two northernmost sections today. But if there's any questions related to the tunnel and the Cape Horn sections at the south end, I can certainly answer any of those. So construction is underway for the 1.4 kilometer long section between Robson to Guildford. And as I said earlier, construction is expected to be completed in 2026. So the Robson to Guildford section includes two large underground valve chambers near the north end of the project. And these structures, although are built to the side of the road, will have traffic impacts for the anticipated 5 to 6 months that each of them takes to build. Traffic is being maintained on Pipeline Road throughout construction, and a detailed traffic management strategy was made in coordination with the city of Coquitlam. The contractor uses that traffic management strategy as a framework for their detailed traffic plans as they organize the work sites. Crossing David Avenue, right in the middle of the slide, is coming up in the fall.
Conference call.
Early winter, and this is anticipated to be a challenging area in terms of traffic impacts. But our project management team is coordinating closely with the contractor and the city of Coquitlam to develop a plan to keep workers safe, allow this 3.2 meter diameter pipe to be built through the busy intersection, and keep traffic moving. Once the water main between David Avenue and Guildford Way is installed, the city of Coquitlam will upgrade Pipeline Road in the same area. The Pipeline Road North section, so I'm shifting gears to the northmost section, is expected to be the next major section to be constructed after the Robson to Guildford section. So as I mentioned earlier, detailed design for this section is underway. We're showing construction was starting in 2025, but that's really more for utility relocations and also existing system upgrades to allow for isolation to facilitate construction of the new water main. The large diameter water main construction is anticipated to start closer to 2027. We will be sharing more information with the public about this section in the spring of next year. So a little bit more about the Pipeline Road North section. It is constructed along Pipeline Road, starting where the current project will end at the Robson Drive at the south end, and continue to a point just south of the bedrock granite at approximately the 1800 block of Pipeline Road. We are designing this 3.2 meter diameter water pipe to be built under an active road, and it will pass under various culverted creeks. One example is Mantle Creek. The large pipe doesn't go under, but there's a smaller service connection that will go over it. Go under it. We have detailed specifications that we require the contractor to follow with regard to environmental mitigation, such as erosion control. Metro Vancouver has an excellent track record for managing such work, and we employ layers of oversight from the contractor's own environmental monitors, our own Metro Vancouver inspectors, third-party quality assurance oversight in the form of environmental auditors, and our own consultant engineering project managers, all with an eye to ensure regulations are followed. Another key mitigation consideration for the north section is keeping traffic moving, particularly through some of the narrow pinch points north of Galette. We are working with our design engineering consultants, that includes traffic engineers. So we will maintain traffic on Pipeline Road throughout the construction, and a detailed traffic management strategy will be made in coordination with the city of Coquitlam, similar to what we did on the Robson to Guildford section. And again, the contractor will use these traffic management strategies as a framework to develop their detailed traffic management plans as they organize the work sites. So we are also meeting with the concrete and gravel companies operating this project area to get feedback on the traffic plans for current work south of Robson. and we'll continue to discuss considerations with various stakeholders. Other key mitigation measures include keeping the few residences north of Galette accessible by vehicle on a day-to-day basis, as well as required for emergency access. And also more common noise and dust impact mitigations as well too. And so that's my update. And now I'll hand things over to Steve to talk about communications and engagement.
Thanks, Bob. Engagement on the Robson to Guildford section started in 2020, and as I said, we've reached out into the community and may have spoken with some of you that live in the area. We've had engagement continue with update communications and the availability of staff such as myself to communicate directly with members of the community, residents and businesses and other stakeholders who may be impacted by ongoing work. Each section will have a separate engagement schedule to align with the design schedule, all of the different sections and projects within this project, as Bob outlined them. Part of my role is anticipating impacts and working with groups such as yourselves to find out what the community concerns are as we write each construction contract, because then we can work in those mitigation measures that are tailored to community needs and try to address things that will be issues before they crop up. Myself and my community liaison and engagement colleagues remain involved in the project then in the construction phase as well. So from conception of the project through design, and then all the way through the end of construction to maintain the relationships that we've brokered in the community, and also with the contractor, and to be a resource to our internal teams and community stakeholders to provide information and try to solve the inevitable issues that arise with a project of this scale. One success story that we want to share that we've had to date is during our negotiations with some business stakeholders on Pipeline Road for a temporary workspace that we required in order to keep as much of our construction off the road as possible. We met with them and we found that our assumption that they needed to keep all their parking and would prefer not to have to move nearby stored material was exactly the opposite. We talked with them and found that they would rather that we used part of their parking lot for the use that we needed and leave more of their access available to stored materials. So we reduced our impacts on them through having that dialogue rather than just imposing on them what was best for the project or what we thought was best for the project. So we do try to keep flexibility like that in our overall approach. We have to build this infrastructure. We all need the drinking water in the region. But if we can reduce the impacts on the project's neighbors as much as possible, we will definitely put the work in to make that happen. I have to make my own slides advance now. There we go. So work that we've done in communication with the public includes installing project identification signs and information signs with project information and contact information. We've placed ads in Tri-City News. We've conducted an online survey to gain comments as we started the Robson to Guildford section, distributing fact sheets and newsletter updates by mail and email. And as the project progresses, updates will be sent approximately 3 times a year, depending on project progress. And that's to a wide distribution. Obviously, those are available on request and on our website. We've just added the roundtable here to our email distribution. So you'll be seeing information from us as well coming through the roundtable email. We've hosted public open houses and we'll continue to do that as we initiate the different phases of the project. Posting social media updates via Facebook, Instagram, and X, and distributing door hangers for targeted communication with highly impacted residents and businesses, usually in localized areas right around where we're starting new work. We've created a dedicated webpage for the project. And if you Google Metro Vancouver Coquitlam Water Main, you'll find the site and updates are posted there, including electronic copies of all the things that we send out in print. Metro Vancouver has created a team that includes dedicated community liaison staff, such as myself. Services that I provide include one-on-one engagement at the doorstep and availability by phone and email to engage on any issues that do arise, and to provide information when needed, and to liaise between the contractor, staff, the municipality, and the community. Metro Vancouver will continue to engage with the roundtable group here. We're going to share information via presentations like this. You can contact us with questions and feedback throughout the project. We will have a dedicated public comment period and open house once design is a bit further along on the north section that Bob outlined. And we continue to coordinate with residents, businesses, and special interest groups to minimize impacts of the project during construction. Metro Vancouver will contact the roundtable regarding opportunities to provide feedback as part of our early engagement for the north section, and will ensure that the group's feedback and interests are understood and considered before design concludes. Excuse me. So we'd be happy to take your questions. And if we don't have the answers for you now, we'll get back to you as quickly as possible. And so I turn it back over to Georgia and open the floor. Georgia, do you want me to?
Well, I mean, and thank you. I'll just jump in here. It's Kirsten. Thank you, Steve and Bob, for that presentation. It's much appreciated, and definitely wonderful that you discuss with businesses and try and come up with the plan before everyone goes off and does their own thing. Usually somewhere to meet in the middle with everything. So much appreciated there. Does anyone have any questions at all that they would like to bring forward?
I have a question.
Yes, Jen.
Reading today, 500,000 sockeye have returned to via the Columbia River to the Okanagan, one of the most spectacular sockeye returns. And having spent a fair bit of my life dealing with developers, developers have a cost, the community amenity cost, CACs. Does Metro contribute to a community amenity cost to help everyone, the First Nations, the residents, the CRWS, improve the sockeye spawning channel around the dam? There are only two users of the water behind the dam. One is BC Hydro and the other one is Metro. It seems to me that a great community contribution could be to start a project to make sure that we can work efficiently to bring sockeye back into the Coquitlam Reservoir. Just an idea.
Thanks, Jim, for that question. Jesse, do you want to speak to that maybe, the work that's happening in the watershed?
Yeah, I'd be happy to provide a brief overview. Dating back to about the time of the BC Hydro seismic upgrade in the late 2000s, BC Hydro constructed an adult fish trap at the base of the dam there, which was intended to contribute to sockeye trapping and then restoration in the lake. It gets rather complicated, as sockeye are among the most complicated fish species to put restoration efforts toward. However, we have been working with Coquitlam First Nation and BC Hydro through the Coquitlam Sockeye Restoration Program since the mid-2000s or so. And some of that work involves pulling the freshwater variants of sockeye salmon from the lake and utilizing them for stock to attempt to build the sockeye population. So fast forward 20 odd years or so, at present, what's happening is, again, challenging site for restoration, given the dam and some 100 years of disturbance in the passage into the lake. There's a fish hatchery that BC Hydro has funded on Metro Vancouver land, sockeye hatchery specifically, that it's intended Coquitlam First Nation will be operating, and it's hoping to be online later this fall. And that's located just immediately adjacent to our existing water treatment plants. We have approximately 2 weeks of boat operations planned on the lake this coming fall with BC Hydro and Coquitlam Nation to catch broodstock fish that will populate that hatchery, which will then be released for navigation to sea and back. So yeah, there's lots of efforts going into it over the past 20 years, a rather complex matter when it comes to fisheries restoration. If you have any more specific questions, I'd be happy to attempt to address them.
Jesse, I think that we get some of the information, but what I think is important is that the level of communication needs significant improvement, in my opinion. I try and follow it as much as I can, but when I talk to people, it's very difficult to get good, accurate, up-to-date information. And I think Steve said that one of his functions is communication. Well, the guest experience, the communication it's critically important here. And I think there needs to be a more improvement on the communications as to what you are doing. We all need to do that. So, and that's good that you're doing something, but I think you have to communicate what you do to everyone.
Yeah, no, thank you for those comments. And fisheries restoration aside, I think through Steve and Bob and the water services side, just feel free to reach out at any time with any questions or concerns. We'd be happy to do our best to address them.
Thank you.
Thanks. And Jim, I think I don't know if we have an email for you to send you information. I'm not sure if we have a direct email for you. Do you want to get a hold of me after the meeting and make sure we do have that?
I think you do have it, but I just think the communication, in my opinion, could be enhanced and improved. That's all.
Thanks.
But I will send it to you.
Okay. I see Margaret's got her hand up.
Thanks, Steve. Hi there. I had a couple of questions. Thank you. This is a very helpful presentation. Having worked with the city of Coquitlam, this is a lot. There's a lot of work involved, and Metro Vancouver is recognized for its good environmental and mitigation measures, and they plan well. So kudos to all of you. I am looking at that step forward, and that is your tunneling under the Coquitlam River. It made the Tri-Cities News online this week, and having been the environmental coordinator of the city, I know what's involved with getting close to a river and trying to avoid any tunneling, if possible, under a river, if not over it, preferably, and not within the riparian or the setback area. There's also the concern of the impact of that kind of construction on the groundwater. Can you speak to that?
I can take that one, Steve. So I know which one you're talking about. I think that's the Haney Main number 4 project that's happening in Coquitlam. Unfortunately, I don't look after that one, so I can't speak to it. But what I can do is I can bring that the question back to that team and get information from them and get back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll pass that back through Georgia, if that's okay, Margaret. Thanks.
Great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Any communications between Metro Vancouver and the CRWS membership can go through me, or you can pass along any emails from our membership if they want to send them to get on that mailing list from Metro Van.
Thank you very much. And any other questions you've got for us? I realize that was quite quite a lot of information we dumped on you about a whole bunch of projects. I mean, any one of those projects that we would do in other municipalities, on its own is a big project. Combined, they're massive. I know, and they span an awful lot of years. It's huge. But we're also not going anywhere. You know where to find us for updates. We can keep you guys posted regularly here as we're getting into all of these.
Can I ask a further question?
Please.
How are you doing on budget? Metro seems to be having a few difficulties with some of their sewage treatment facilities, their budgets. How is the water project budget coming?
Well, I'll speak to that one as well too. Yes, Jim, you're right. We are seeing challenges in terms of our project costs, right? I mean, I think probably everybody in this region is facing it as well too. But we are making sure that we do have adequate budget to complete the work that we need to do, right? The important work that we need for the region.
Are you on budget?
On budget right now, yeah.
Stay that way.
Water and not sewer. Maybe it's just all around better dealing with water. Any other questions at all? You guys did a wonderful time being on time here with so much information, and we do have a few more minutes if anybody would like to ask anything else. Okay, well, thank you so much, Steve and Bob, Georgia, for all of you.
Thanks for having us.